firepower we talk about. Think about what you said coming into this game. And it was absolutely shambolic. So I need to see a better performance from EG. This is not going to be good enough if they get knocked out easily.
I love it. I love these sort of pistol rounds coming out of FPX. That's the one thing that I really took away from that last map is they have absolutely no fear going into this series. They are happy to battle. They are happy to brawl. But maybe it's an oversight. Nice start from Breeze. There is a response, but they've taken a hell of a lot of damage in return, and the rest of EG are coming back for the battle. But Zen is looking to take some control. Eventually, there is a trade back. Now, it's ended in a 3v3. You could definitely say for now that EG have the advantage, but they have sort of been put in an awkward position because they're now just having to fight just for mid.
Tarik on the wrap. That's a huge moment. Through balcony, takes down A site accordingly, and now they can look to push onto that and pivot into the round, which is desperately needed. Just to put a little bit of confidence in play. Big headshot again from Tarik. Said they'd have to shake off the cobwebs and have a complete mental reset. And Farlig break their hearts, break their resolve once more. Has no kit and has been smoked and naded out. That's going to make things a whole lot more difficult, so have to come round on the short side if he wants to stand any kind of a chance of pulling this one off. I think some players in this position, as much as it would suck, would actually maybe even think about saving this Kevlar. That's how brutal this situation is for him, but may try and hold on for some exit frags, see if he can pick them off just beforehand. In terms of the round, it's basically done. There's not enough time on the fuse to get this one done under wraps for him. And he does go on his shield. Tarik picks up 3. Important round for EG, and now they need to build off it.
Yeah, for sure. And it has to be said, last time they played on Inferno, pretty much every single member of EG was at least, well, a minimum of 0 or positive. So it was a much better performance from them overall. So Tarik was one of the shining stars, I believe, ending with 27 kills. So him getting off to a good start is a great sign. It's a map that they've been comfortable on for a long, long time. And, well, hopefully, we're going to see a slightly better response from them versus the Anti-Ego, because last time, they got wrecked.
They did, that's a good point. There's those Deagles. Tico just ripped off the head. Through Squeaky. Oh, no, Chris J. He's put a bullet through the smoke and through Ethan, I think, to dispatch of Cirque. But at least the counter frags were in play. Breeze trying to jump on top of the triple, but has relocated. And with the Galil, sprays it down range, takes off the head of Zen, and it looks like they will bypass these early threats and dangers. Stiko and Farlig would do well to hold on to these Deagles, but good spray from Ethan will make sure that only one of them can possibly survive. And I'm not sure that Farlig has a great chance of survival as Ethan puts him down. EG getting a bit more aggressive, getting control of the situation, and getting a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, a great start. Barely anybody going down in either of the rounds. Finances starting to be built up. And on the other side of things, FPX can't actually invest much into this round. It's just going to be nades. And we know that most teams at this point should come to expect something like this, especially on Inferno. Like nade stacks on Banana is something you'll see almost every single round. Maybe 1 or 2 going through middle. And while Ethan has managed to avoid them. Actually has one in response, which should do a hell of a lot more damage. Chris has caught that in his back pocket. He is still walking into a stack. The thing is, though, he only has a Mac 10, and even taking 2 down and potentially finding information about the rest would be more than enough. But he's actually got stand to support, and that is dicey, though. Not the spray we wanted to see, and Cirque has to be careful, because although the other 2 only had SMGs, that AK-47 can't fall into enemy hands.
Yeah, exactly. The expendable Mac 10s, no problem. You can trade up in the next round. You can even potentially pick up an AWP if you want to. But if AKs start falling left and right, that's where the issues can start to come to the forefront. It does seem like FPX should be getting dispatched fairly comfortably in the end. Maybe Farley goes unchecked, but now he's been spotted and his USP aim is off. And that will be Tarik picking up another 2. As you said, he had a great performance last time these teams met each other, so it's good to see him start to arrive on the table. 3 players yet to get off the mark on FPX, but now they've got a good job and a good chance of doing just that. They've got rifles, finally.
Yeah, this is where the game hopefully will get going, although I was kind of thinking that in the last map, and never really did. The buy rounds didn't seem to make a difference, but it's a different side to the coin. A 4-man stack early on towards the B side, maybe expecting a bit of a brute force aggressive play, and actually there is. Breeze, he'll be traded out by the nades, but look at the damage. Both teams getting rinsed by the HEs and the Molotovs. And after the early setup seems to dispatch, it's actually just going to leave one man to defend it.
Surprisingly, Bullet's the tertiary source of damage here. And there's another grenade. The timing could not have been sweeter for FPX. And who else but Chris J to deliver it first class? Stanislaw still maintaining one of the MAC-10s. And he will be pulling back as a result of a smoke that lands in his eyes. It would have been more of an interference play anyway, as the other two EG members are on Banana and the bombs drop back at T-steps. They have just shy of a minute allocated, and they do have two smokes. They could lock down the classic default over on B. You're obviously going to be smoking off CT and Coffins respectively. But they are waiting for Stan to join them. So it does seem like B site is going to get hit on momentarily. And for the time being, Chris J is all alone.
He has no grenades as well. I'm a little bit disappointed they didn't leave Farlig behind because he had a smoke. He could have denied this. The thing is, though, the time that's been taken actually allows for him to rotate. So his counter smoke could be available, but they've gained a lot of ground since this rotation's come in. Great shot from Tarek. A bit of a misread maybe by Farlig. Could look like he was going to head back into A. And with 20 seconds left, they'll be able to comfortably get the bomb down. And it's down to FPX to try and retake.
Farlig knows that there's support on its way. Needs to survive, but Tarek gets cut down to size by Madden, who then goes down himself. Good spray from Stanislaw through the coffin, survives with 2 HP. We'll keep the Undertaker at bay for the time being, but now Zen, the Finn, may be able to strike hot. Instead, though, he gets doused down by Cirque, and EG showing us pretty much what we were expecting to see in the first map. Finally, we're starting to get something to get excited about here for EG.
Yeah, no, a much better start, and normally we call that more of a bonus round as well for them. So the fact they've managed to win that, sure, they did buy up an AWP and get majority rifles, so it wasn't too much of one, but they made sure that they converted it. They left FPX again in a bit of an awkward spot, and as said, I do wonder how different that could have been if Farlig's smoke is actually utilized to try and deny them with only 30 seconds left, but it's all woulda, couldas. And instead, we have to see what they can do already. Madden, he gets domed up, wrecked by nades, but he still goes for the peak and manages to find Stan. So all in all, not an awful trade. The problem is, again, he was the lone defender, so they've had to rotate Chris in. And although the smoke's gone down, luckily for them, they're actually not going to pressure off of it.
Still 3 of the 4 maintain positions over on A. Zen getting aggressive, looking to get into Boiler, connects the first and second. Breeze is already tagged up by Stiko, finished off, and now they feel they're compelled. They have to go in aggressive, both winged by Chris J, who finishes off the first and the second frag. And with just Eagles, with just pistols, FPX have got their first round, and they've had a massive boost to their economy and arsenal of weaponry as a result.
And these are positions as well where I just don't think either of these players should be getting 2 kills. Like, obviously, props to them for being able to do it, but I just feel like someone on the EG side should have got a trade there, at least with one of them. The fact that both of them get away with that, I feel like that's just a misplay round. Of course, the body shots of the Deagle are kind of BS. Sicko, though, this is very aggressive. Taking the fight, they've smoked off mid so that they can't really be caught. The angle being out, Breeze looks away, and that gives Madden a freebie. It still looks like it's through smoke, but I guess he could see through the gap in it. He's actually going to continue his push up Banana. Chris J, however, again, that lone defender hasn't been exactly performing to the highest of standards, but I don't think they know that Madden's here. He might be able to get a free kill onto Stan, although he could just look to deny the bomb instead.
There's no way they know he's here. Surely they don't check this angle. I mean, they saw him get a kill earlier on. That's probably what gave him away, I'd imagine, doing their due diligence. Because he got the frag down in middle, they have to assume he's either somewhere like an underpass or he's towards the sandbag area. So fair enough. Well played by EG. I thought Madden was the ace up the sleeve. And as did he. Great kills now from EG, though. Stabilizing. Farlig aggression up on Banana early on, but if they checked Madden's position, you better believe they have a good idea that this is also on the cards. And I think this is going to be a save. Zen's not interested. I was thinking Farlig may be waiting for Zen to make a move through on CT side, but the fact that he's actually pulled the plug and he's gone back over on apps, Farlig's just looking for exit frags right now. That's really the best case they can do, is maybe neutralize as many of these Ts as possible, but the round will be going to EG, whichever way you spin it.
I wonder if we are going to see a change from FPX, because there's now been, I would say, 2 or 3 rounds where Chris has been left in a position where he basically has to multi-frag, or he has to get a kill or 2, and it just hasn't been working for him. So I feel like the B site has been their major problem, as the majority, or in fact, is it all the rounds have actually gone in that direction so far for EG? I would quite like to maybe see Farlig go over in that direction with the AWP, but we'll see what they actually opt to do.
I feel for FPX in that last round though, man. Madden doing something that very rarely will come to the forefront, getting round the back of them and nearly having that timing of getting 2 or 3 frags. That could have been everything for FPX. We can put that into the back of their minds. Because of that Deagle victory, they are afforded the luxury of another very solid buy, and you can see that Zen still posted over $6,000 come the end of this round. It's not as if they're completely flat out broke, regardless what happens here. A chance to get themselves back into the match, and Zen is waiting patiently for this push. 4 players on A again, leaving Madden alone. And in forward positions with a crossfire on top of it. This is looking a little bit grim, but Chris J comes out and actually gets fragged down. Farlig misses a bit of a stip that they need Zen to have impact, and he's got 2 so far. Make it 3, but he can't transition across for the 4th. He has bought up enough time, though, for Madden to quickly scamper across from B to A. But Ethan making the correct read, having a good eye for where to go, is pushing up Banana to B site, and I don't think Madden can stop him.
No, he's slowly starting to push and probe, and the deep smoke actually makes things quite awkward. He's not going to be coming around that direction anyway, but it means that Ethan can go for a fairly aggressive stance, making a play around the church, and should be able to find out relatively soon that his opponent isn't coming from that direction. It leaves a spot where Madden is going to have to basically fight him to get the kill, because defusing in this open spot is going to be nigh on impossible. And with half the clock already gone, Madden at least has himself a kit, but that time is ticking away. He's either just got to try and stick it, bait him in, find the kill, but it's just going to be the shoulder peek, but actually a little bit wide. And Madden is clinical enough that he will win the clutch. I feel like Ethan had that one dead to rights, but somehow he's turned it around.
I am so perplexed at that decision to wide swing. I'm somewhat speechless there. I mean, take nothing away from Madden. Obviously, Zen here, his triple is so vitally important. But yeah, that wide swing, the second you see he's not on the bomb, you know you've got time on your side. That should be a round, honestly, that goes the way of EG. And for me, that kind of encapsulates what we saw on Nuke. This disjointed effort with EG just not living up to their potential. They've just allowed FPX to open the door back into this map as well, because the economy is so grim. They had to force in. They're going to have very little behind this now, and it includes the Mac 10 and 2 AKs with very little utility. They've already lost 2 players. They at least do claw back one onto Zen, who was the hero of the last round, and Breeze jumping, leaping, and springing into action gets 1, but they're keeping that player advantage in their favor, FPX. They're not being fully submerged.
There's always a response. There's always someone to bring it back for them. And that's one of the things I think was most impressive in the last map, was just their trading capabilities, the way they seem to buddy up with each other. Again, it's going to be the same sort of setup, although it seems Madden's been tempted away to the B site, leaving Sticko here alone. Now, he is normally a bit of a rock for the team, but even a one and done in this sort of scenario could end with an after-plant position for EG and a chance to turn this back. But look at where they're going right now. The time is ticking, and they've pushed all the way down Banana. They're slowly going to realize the direction of this T side, and they may even get the flank onto Cirque. Look where he currently is. The push is coming in behind him. If the bomb's dropped, if a kill comes in, this is already over. And Stan, he may have no idea. Chris J is right behind him. A good read in the end from FPX, but again, maybe EG just a little bit slow. Of course, it's easy to say that from our point of view, but they took their time hoping for a kill, and it ended up biting them.
I think it's also just an excellent read as well, Tom. You know, they take over that second player, as you said. They didn't play static, though. They looked for intel. With 45 seconds, it's a bit of an off time. It's unlikely that EG were going to fully force and impose their will. Obviously, from our perspective, with a bird's eye view, we could see there was only one player on A, but there's no way that EG know that. So if they just push in the 2v2, they likely come out second best. That's why they were taking so long, waiting for those transitional moments to come into fruition. So well played by FPX, and now they're up against the Eco. This is their reward. correct call, you get a freebie of a round and a 4K on Madden, who's really stepping up now. Wasn't necessarily required too much on Nuke, but we always knew that he had that ability to take over the game.
Yeah, he's the man on this roster that if he starts hitting a peak, if he gets that confidence rolling, he does become somewhat unstoppable. As I said, the reason they picked him up in the Godsend days was because they played against him and he was ridiculous. So it can happen. Zen, very aggressive once again. The confidence is definitely building. They are happy to take these fights. Eventually he gets caught off, but the damage is done. 2 players lost. Tarek, though, a swift response. And what was looking like an easy round ends up, surely not, Chris. Jumping over a Molotov, you made quite a bit of sound there. It seems like they've gone from a commanding position, a 4v3, to now the risks biting them. And they're still going for them. They're still pushing. Sticko gets one in response.
What an odd round this has been. Incendiary to stop the default plant, but they knew he was in up, so unlikely they'd go for that anyway. It does lower the angles, though, that he has to watch out for on that wide swing. And Breeze gets removed. A low HP Tarek faces up against Stiko and Madden has him dead to rights. But I've got to say there, Tom, even though FPX take the round, that was a very odd round indeed. Like, Zen gets so much done, he puts it into a 5v3, he dies 4v3. And then we just see simultaneous 1-by-1 incredibly aggressive peaks from Farlig and then Chris J. And then a part of me is grimacing. I'm like, just hold positions, you've got the advantages. I honestly feel like they just stole a round. And a lot of it was this peak from Stiko. Like, Stiko was so integral at the end of this round, but they nearly threw it away, Tom, by just being too aggressive.
Yeah, I think the risk-taking sort of like, there's a peak part of the bar and you've just blown it out of the water. But as you said, somehow they've made that work. And there's a part of me that almost thinks that's going to be more infuriating for EG. Like, sure, they made mistakes. Sure, they should have probably lost it because of the risks they took. But at the same time, if you get away with rounds like that, you're going to have your opponent just sat there thinking, well, if they can just push everything, if they can fight every angle, that's a real problem. Now, these pistols, they're doing some damage, but Farlig is just cleaning things up. They've gone from having limitations with economy and not too many opportunities for him to pick up an AWP, now to an AWP setup where both him and Chris have one in play. Not ideal for these sort of pistol rounds, but somehow they seem to be doing a great job. Stan in an attempt to do some damage, but it's only 1 player lost, and they're now going to come in with multiple AKs and the double AWP setup. FPX, this is a real resurgence. This was 5-1, right?
Yeah, it was 4-0, then 5-1, and now 6-5. And EG, call a timeout. I almost feel like this is more of a detox period than anything else, Tom, because, again, 2 rounds ago, they'll be feeling like they should have won that. I feel like all that aggression and winning off that aggression is just a massive tilt. And as professional as these players are and as seasoned as they are, you couldn't really write them off or have anything against them if you get a bit affected by losing a round like that, Tom. You just get peaked by every single player of FPX. You're like, what are they doing? It works. How does it work? And you're seeing there that Breeze, we touched on it before. He was I think you said he was eerily quiet, or he was basically silent in that first map, and he absolutely was. And that's the issue coming into this, that he's a guy that's capable of so much, but he's been on a downward trend for a little bit now.
Oh yeah, back-to-back top 20 in 2020 and 2019. So that says it all. That's all you need to know about Breezy. Like, the man is a monster, but right now he's absent completely. So that is one of the main reasons we're seeing this team fall flat, but it's not the only one, it's safe to say. Had a bit of a better map so far in this one, but look at this sheer aggression. Just peeking out, had a flash behind it, but it's a bit of a whiff, if anything, from Madden. Could have got away with at least a kill there. And now they're going to look to put the pressure on Chris. Now, he's got his trusty AWP in hand. We've seen time and time again over the last decade what this man can do with this gun. Can he hold the line? Doesn't need to.
Just one tick required again, just perfect timing. He landed a dunk nade as well earlier on, just out of nowhere. And Stan must be like, mate, can I catch a break, please? Please, can you just stop wrecking us with nades, Chris J? HE in, Fortunate Breeze there, honestly, not to get destroyed by it. Landed a little bit too deep, and there's another one tossed in, though. Tarek and Ethan will have no such luck. 40 seconds to go. They're pushing in. Zen hiding behind the hay bales. This is such a difficult angle to deal with if he's a tease, but he doesn't even need to be dealt with just yet because everyone else is doing the work for him. Now he comes to the forefront, and Cirque in a 1v3 can't get anything done. And FPX continue their winning ways regardless of the tactical timeout that EG just tossed in.
It's really weird. It seems like EG, like the momentum they gain in the early rounds, it's like the second they get broken by something, FPX just spring into action. And every single one of their players is just playing with sheer confidence, like running through smokes, shooting through them, dunking nades onto players. Like, they're feeling it at the moment. I don't know if this is Chris J coming into the roster, but I can't even say that anymore because it was exactly the same when they were playing with Emmy. It just seems like they found new life, potentially under the new organization, and they're looking very, very good. Farlig, oh, I'm actually surprised that doesn't connect, but he goes back, almost lines up a double, and now Sticker wants some of the action, spraying wildly through the smoke. Look at the damage coming in from nades again. He's got another one to expend, and just so low, the remaining players. They cannot catch a break at the moment. The utility damage is off the chains for this side, and again, re-aggression. Stan doesn't even turn around. I think he just gave up at that point.
And even though it's not guaranteed confirmed damage, he must have a good idea that he just wrecked them in apps there. There's nowhere for them to go. I mean, Farlig peeked out twice. He nearly got a 2-for-1. I'm sure he must assume that these last few players are low. Best case scenario for EG in this kind of a situation, as far as FPX are concerned, is like maybe one of them has 100% HP, but the other two are wrecked. But Madden, this is the other side of the coin. Sometimes it works out, sometimes not. He does get the bomb drop down, though, so that is valuable intel. And it does afford the luxury of Chris J pushing down aggressively down Banana. Stiko, though, holds on with the M4. And it's fitting that he at least does get some frags out of this because his ADR on that round must have been about 300 at least.
Yeah, unreal. And again, it's something we have to talk about time and time again with this team, that their utility damage is just ridiculous. Like, and it always seems to be at the right place, the right time, experience shining through. And yeah, we're seeing them take some really risky peaks as well. Like Farlig's AWP peak, incredibly risky. This as well from Chris. He's just going to go for the battle, and I don't blame him. He had support. He had his teammates throwing extra utility. They are styling on EG at this point in time, and sure, the buy's not perfect for them, but they just don't seem to have a counter for everything that FPX are doing. Even when they catch players in awkward situations, somehow there's always a response.
Tom, they started the round with 4 players on B as well. It's like, Chris, you're going to peek, and we're going to have the entire army behind you. You're not alone here. He still has some cover as he goes in for 2. Winding back the years, for the longest time, a primary AWP capable of so much carnage. And although the bomb could be getting planted momentarily, it has been stalled a bit longer courtesy of some utility, and they're worried about peaks and pushes through the CT side of the smoke. Now these are clearing. Flashbang is good, but there's still 5 players with tons of utility. They have an incendiary, they got flashes, they got smokes. This is going to be so difficult for EG to hold on to, especially as 2 of them are the walking wounded, trying to limp in. Breeze has been spotted, stands his ground, albeit on 42. He will keep himself alive, and this is where the flashes will now start to get tossed in. Incendiary to the backside. Breeze has to stay in dark. This isolates, segregates Stanislaw away from his teammates, who gets picked off, and now the smoke is going to be there to deal with that other threat. But Breeze, we mentioned just how good he can be, as Cirque gets 1, is looking for another one, but Fun plus Phoenix gonna hold it down, but there's not enough time. EG actually take a 3v5 retake and make it theirs.
Oh, that was a much better hold coming out from their side of things. Breeze starting to hit a few shots. Cirque as well, he's been absent this map so far, but the AWP shone through this time. Still a very, very costly round. And again, it means that their finances, they're still not strong. The AWP's gone for them, whereas on the other side, there's a double. Still an 8-7 half. Well, actually, I was going to say that I think they'd take it, but they were 5-1 up.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. They may not get that luxury to get 8-7 anyway, Tom, because Farlig, another opening pick with the AWP. And it's typically been Chris, but now Farlig showing he's not one to be outshone. Definitely capable, the Dane. And it was, what, I think 7 rounds in a row, and 8 out of 9 that FPX picked up in the middle portion of this half. That's outrageous. There's a slight gap in that smoke, but it may come to the good of Madden. That's the bomb that gets dropped down. He spots the secondary player. They know there's at least one of the remaining 3 are on Banana, and it stands to reason there's more. And of course, Madden's pushing the smoke, because why wouldn't he? And Ethan must be full on tilt.
Oh, that's such a alpha play. You've got a 5-on-3 and he just goes straight through. He does eventually fall, and well, Chris has got to be careful, but never mind. Tarek tries to make a similar sort of play, but it does not work for them. A fantastic resurgence from FPX, from 5-1 down to take the half 9-6. They only need, well, another 6, and they'll be in a very good spot. It started much better for the evil geniuses, but it seems like the Phoenix has risen once again from the ashes and come back with a 9-6 half. We are going to be looking to see if they're about to close this out in a 2-0 fashion. And bear in mind, anybody who is just tuning in, if this half goes the way of FPX, they eliminate EG from the entire tournament.
Meaning EG didn't even make the playoffs in an event that, let's be honest, a lot of people would have expected them to be grand final, potentially even win. It's looking good, but somehow 2 frags, make it 3. They even had a trap sprung perfectly, and FPX just runs straight through it. No respect shown again. Circa's got himself 1, but he gets traded out, leaving it on Breeze, and he's been spotted. He's already got a pick from Banana. They know exactly where he is. It's going to be difficult to push through this smoke, through all of the oncoming bullets, all the oncoming traffic, to pull this round out the hat. A flash up and over. First headshot goes his way. There's the second. Could be going in for a third, but runs out of ammunition. Picks up the Glock. Still plenty of time. Even though he doesn't have a kit, doesn't really matter right now. As long as he can take down Madden. Both players low. Both players effectively a bullet away from death, but Breeze with a slight advantage as he looks to get aggressive with the Glock. But look at Madden. He's playing this perfectly, and now this is where the kit does make all the difference. This is where Madden can waste all of the time. He keeps shoulder peeking. He's already done enough, as well as Breeze did with the headshots. It doesn't matter.
Oh, he's even going to close it at the end. That was heartbreaking. That was like a flash of what we can get from Breeze. Such an incredible attempt, pushing through the smoke. 3 players waiting for you and getting the first 2, and you almost wonder if he had an extra bullet in the clip, that might have been enough. Like just here, just when he runs out, you think that's it. That's the moment he could have won the entire round. It was literally a bullet needed to kill off Madden. But then we talk about Madden being a bit like a bull in a china shop. That was eloquent. That was beautiful. Just wrapping around, wasting time, making sure there was no chance he could lose that round just by putting the bomb into his favor. Very well played.
Ruthless aggression to Grace under pressure. Played it perfectly, as you said. And now Chris J, speaking of that aggression, takes the MAC-10, hops in towards Boiler, takes down the kill Cirque. That's a lot of damage with the CZ. Unfortunate not to double up. Dinks Madden down to 12. But FPX still have that player advantage. This, of course, is a force buy from EG. And one that if they concede, FPX are off to the races. They move one giant step towards the finish line and elimination for EG. This is a very tense situation now, Tom. It's not a foregone conclusion that FPX take this round, especially as we're getting some aggression from Ethan, who has been consistently one of their better players. If he can take down some kills, it's possible, but with his demise, with his death, B-side is open for business.
Yeah, the remaining 2 players are a little bit out of the action as well, and you can see Madden, even with only 12 HP, is actually going to continue to push. A single bullet here would be enough to put him in the grave, and just going to make sure he clears all the angles. Stan can't quite see him on the cross, and yeah, they're just going to save what they can. Retrieving the FAMAS at least as a small bonus for the next round, but we're now going to see an 11th for FPX, and there's nothing to really be purchased from EG. They just have to save their cash and make sure they're ready for the next round. So chances are, unless Tarek does something incredible with the FAMAS or the D comes through, that we might be seeing a 12-6 scoreline before a purchase comes up for EG.
Does Stanislaw blink, by the way? I swear, every time I see his camera, he doesn't blink. Is he human?
No, it might just be one of those things where you're like, if I blink, I will die. So he's just sat there with his eyes just completely burning, just like, I will not break my gaze. If I do, see, look, he looks away for a second. That's all it takes, Vince. That's all it takes. If Stan had blinked, that would have happened. Also, top tip, don't play with the chickens. And also, they do make noise. So it might have been a bit of a giveaway, but you know what? It was funny at least.
I can just hear Tarek smashing his keyboard, tweeting out now, why are the chickens in Counter-Strike? What do they add to the game? He's got a point, to be fair.
You know what I'm having for dinner, Vince? Chicken.
Right, Stanislaw did just blink. It's all good. Everything's fine. Their economy isn't, though. A current purchase or lack thereof isn't. They just got a deagle, a flashbang, and a bit of Kevlar.
By the way, wasn't real. I don't believe it. Fake news.
Oh, well, it's a massacre. We can just write this round off over before it really began, to be fair, with a lack of purchase. But now EG will have their hands on a lot of firepower. They'll have their hands on an AWP. They've got to make this work, Tom. This is do or die territory now.
Yeah, and as well, these are the sort of rounds that I feel like FPX are actually very good at winning. Because it's just, right, basically, guys, we're going to just do something crazy. We're going to get aggressive. We're going to get in their face. Oh, what you mean what we've been doing on all of our T side? Yes, we're going to do that, but a little bit quicker. And just trying to brute force it already. Straight up banana. Incendiaries denying them. A few HEs going back in response, but not to the same success we saw in the previous half. Nice flashbang, though. That gives Tarek a kill, and in fact, even finds a second one. Ethan there to support him. A hugely successful start to the battle for Banana, and Farlig is left only on 20 HP as well. That is what we want to see from EG.
Much better. I think Maniac hit the nail on the head about Nuke, is it always felt like EG lacked control. They never really established themselves and made FPX respect them. Plays like that certainly will garner a bit of respect, but you have to then execute off it. It's great to get the opening picks, but if they start getting barreled down again, keep in mind with this kind of a lead in the economy not established yet, FPX don't necessarily have to win the round. As long as they take some guns away from EG, 2 or 3 of them, that could be good enough bigger picture. 50 seconds to go. They've used the bulk of their utility. They've got to get out to the site, but again, it's running into the blockade of EG. Not a single player has fallen, and that will remain the case with a 4K on Tarek.
That was a superb round. From start to finish, the initial aggression, the fallback, the repositioning, the utility, very well done by EG. And that's the sort of stuff that we want to see. Now, it is still worth mentioning, this was a bonus round. This was Galil's and Mac 10s and nothing more. So we're going to sort of hold our breath a little bit before we sort of count this as a resurgence. They're still 5 rounds behind, and there is still a full purchase coming in from the T side with money to spare. They made a lot of cash over the last few rounds. Nice shot, but only a leg. So Chris will survive for now. And Cirque's one of the main sort of underperformers, I would say, so far in this map. But going into the CT side, that's where we should see a resurgence. Madden, though, catches on the edge of that smoke just before it blooms. And this time, the B site control is already weakened.
So important for him to also put down a bit of suppressing fire onto the tight angle. So if that second player came out, he could have been headshot as well. Keeps them at bay. Chris J, though, who was weakened up for that flick from early on, Cirque has been finished off by the HE, but then also putting in work. Tarek, second round in a row that flash into peak has been successful at the top of Banana, and something that FPX will keep in mind, that they still have 3 healthy players pushing towards A, where will only be Breeze all alone with the M4. Huge headshot, and there's a second to add on top of it. The bomb's been dropped and all the bodies alongside it, and finally we're seeing what Breeze is capable of.
Yeah, he's had a few moments in this map. The pistol retake attempted. It looked like it was a little bit of the old Breeze, the Breeze we like to see, the top 20 in the world for 2 years, and this was sick. Just every single bullet connecting. And we've started to see him and Tarek actually step up. It's unfortunately, again, Cirque, Ethan a little bit quieter. And on the other side of things, Zen, 21 kills alongside Madden. We mentioned him as that third man. Madden actually picking up the AWP on the T side. This is a bit of a dicey buy, but that's a pretty good start.
That's really interesting he's held onto it as well. When you got Chris J and Farlig in the roster, you think that Madden is really far down the pecking order when it comes to AWPing. Maybe it's that aggression that they're looking for. Speaking of which, Stanislaw now pushing up towards bedroom, nearly gets the timing peak on Chris J. Just wings him down, 21 HP. But they now know that apps control is underway from the CTs. And that banana control, although has been established, once that smoke clears, There's a couple of paths forward for FPX. Hopping on top of the car. Ethan is having a quick look across there, but nothing's really forthcoming. So he'll start to back away.
Yeah, I think this seems to have EG a little bit on edge. You can see them trying to find information, work out where those remaining players are actually going to be. And in fact, any real aggression would grant them that information because Fun plus Phoenix are completely split. 40 seconds left. It seems like they're making the decision to fade back to A. It's probably because of the apartments control they've managed to get. And with the current setup, Breeze is going to switch back. He's rotated his gaze and is now looking in the perfect direction.
Time of the essence, headshot delivered. Does get traded up by Stiko. The bomb's still under control. Stanislaw, the last bastion, the last safeguard, gets the drop onto Farlig, looking for more, but it won't be forthcoming, and there is enough time for the plant. And EG in no position to stop this. It will be a 2v2 with two separate angles of aggression from EG. Ethan from middle and Cirque from arches, but if they do congregate together and push short, they may be running into Stiko, who's looking from pit. And now they don't have any utility or any pop flashes they can toss in. They're going to be splitting up. Ethan going through apps and Cirque going to be peering in towards the pit side. The timing narrowly working against the CTs. If Stiko had picked one too many times, he could have lost his head. That could have been the round going their way. And now they'll be trading out. Big headshot from Stiko. No idea as to Ethan's presence. Time is running so very low. And Stiko's done enough. Double spray. FPX pick up their 13th.
How did he get that? I thought Ethan had him dead to rights, but just jumps into his arms and, sprays him down. Superb round from Stiko from start to finish, clearing every angle, making sure this A site stayed in his control. But it was this. He just didn't have his gun out. Maybe wanted to try and get towards the site because the time was so desperately low. But wow, impressive stuff. And again, it just seems like any member of this FPX roster can come up clutch when they need it. Cirque. Wow. He's got that AWP in play. The Dragon Lore in his hands once again, and we need to see something from the Bulgarian here. He's back in Europe, but hasn't quite left his stamp on it. The T's once more, just spread out, waiting patiently. They've decided to actually leave the B site relatively open here. Normally when you see this sort of 4-1 stack, there's at least a bit of aggression in the initial stages to gain that information. Instead, it just seems like they've got a read.
Yeah, that script has been laid bare. Cirque peeks out. Farlig has his number. Stanislaw up on the balcony.
He hit that.
One and done. And he did still get tagged, so that weakened him up for the Galil to finish him off. And this softened defense is being put down range, but Breeze at least gets two. That gives the remaining two players of EG another hope. He did the same in the last round. They were unsuccessful. This time it's Tarek that joins Ethan. Will we have a repeat performance? Because again, it's Stiko. He's in pit, no AK. This time it's the M4 at his disposal, alongside Chris J. And Stiko, perched on the site, he's going to have that first point of call, and he takes both heads with him. He, again, successful in these clutch situations. And again, FP Peak just goes so fast towards the finish line. EG's economy's destroyed, Tom. Is this the beginning of the end?
I think it needs to be mentioned that 2 rounds ago, Stiko was 11 and 13. He's now 17 and 18 and 13 even. It's 7 kills in 2 rounds from Stiko. High impact and definitely needed as well. Like, there's been some clutch plays coming out from some of the players over on the other side. It almost seems like they're in some sort of relay race and only the player with the baton is actually allowed to perform, because we've now got Breezy stepping up. Tarek's actually been playing reasonably well, but Stan, who was all right in the last map, has fallen completely flat, and Ethan's been quiet for the last few rounds as well. So it's ended up in just seeming that they can never get all of their players performing at the same time and being caught out by what is an in-form FPX squad. Well, 14-8. 2 rounds. This round, they can't even buy. Cirque will, however, go for the classic Hero MP9. Not seen that one before.
Yeah, and that's kind of the result I was expecting, to be honest with you, Tom.
You didn't believe Vince?
Pretty
Come
flat.
on, Hero MP9?
Yeah, that was like that kind of desperation mid-push where you're not fully committed to it. Like we saw Zen with an M4 go, screw this, I'm going to take this round and make it mine. Cirque was like just walking across there like gingerly, you know, I don't really want to do this, and then just gets battered. FPX now, 7 match points, 7 elimination points for EG, a tournament that they would have felt they had every right to win, and they may be knocked out before the playoffs even start.
I'm questioning if that was a frustration buy, a misbuy, or whatever it was, because he now does not have his AWP. In fact, he doesn't even have what we would consider a primary rifle. It's a FAMAS for cert going into this one, and it's not even really to get that extra utility because he doesn't have that much. Sure, a smoke, couple of flashes, but no incendiaries. Chris, actually going to stick to a Mac 10 in this round. 5 grand, not enough for him to get a rifle, it seems, wanting to really build up that cash. Breeze now trying to get aggressive, and I don't blame him. He has been great in this map. 113 ADR, superb performance, but there's been little else to really write home about. Nice nade as well. This round going swimmingly, in fact, as Stan has also found a pick onto Zen on the other side of the map. They've even got banana control, so no real information needed for the rest of the players. They can just sit passive.
Oh, what an entry by Farlig on the drive-by. Takes minimal damage as well. Echo your sentiments about Breeze. He's had a much better performance here on Inferno, but his teammates have let him down a little bit. A lot of damage to Chris J. Also has Cirque below him on the hay bales. A bit of an off angle, especially when you know that someone's on balcony. The double peek, but it's Tarek that takes down Madden, and that could force them out into the open. It's 2 kills going quick succession. Now Cirque shows his hand, but what? Chris J just spins around and Mac 10's him, but the bomb is down in middle, and a headshot from Ethan keeps the dream alive. Both players are low, almost identical HP, identical weaponry, with 27 seconds to play with.
Oh, it's going to come down to timing, isn't it? Ethan starting to second guess himself, watching in the other direction. His head pops up, and that could be the end. He almost gives it up, and he will. Chris J, he started the first map with a phenomenal performance and finishes this one off as well. FPX have